So next topic in purification of the heart, the disease is cheating. We all know that cheating is bad. But what is cheating from an Islamic point of view? It is if you cover something bad and make it look good while you know it's not, or you mislead someone, or you withhold some of the truth and you don't mention the whole truth when you're asked to do so. And we ask God every single day as Muslims to guide us to the straight path, ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, in every single prayer. While the Prophet says that the gateway to this straight path, or a prerequisite, or you can say the handrails or the bodyguards at this, would be two things that we do in this life that can help us. One of them is being good to your family and ties of kinship and family relations and keeping good relations with your family. The other one is being a trustworthy person. So being a trustworthy person is a prerequisite. It is the foundation of the Muslim character. Without it, we're not even just on a path to begin with. And God says in the Quran, الَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. So those who keep their promises and can be trusted, and those who carefully maintain their prayers. And a noteworthy thing to say here is that God, when talked about trust and prayers and safeguarding your prayers, He mentioned trust first. So being trustworthy came first before prayers. It implies that being a trustworthy person is a prerequisite. Why am I talking about this? Because lately, as Muslims, I felt that there's so much focus on outwardly looks and rituals, and sometimes we forget the true essence of worship. So why are we doing this? And that the whole reason is to build God consciousness, and in other words, it's a character building project. The worst kind of breaking a trust is that between two married couples, like a husband and wife, and when they're confiding into each other, and then when things might go wrong between them, and they take each other's secrets and they make them public. That is just horrible. And the Prophet said, ﷺ, "La imana liman la amana lah." So those who are not trustworthy have no faith. Basically, it's just an indication that at that moment of cheating or not being a trustworthy person, this is your moment of zero faith. So cheating is not only in marriage. Cheating is just between family and friends and everybody. If someone asks you for advice, you owe it to them. Islamically, I'm telling you Islamically, that's what Islam says. You owe it to them to give them the true, sincere advice, not mislead them in any way as much as possible. Or if you're a person that the more complex your job is, the easier it is to get away with it. So if you're a doctor and people come to you for advice, and whatever it is, and then you prescribe something and you know you get commission out of this medicine, and that's why in the first place you're prescribing it, that's not being sincere, and that is some form of cheating. Or if you're selling a car and you know there's something wrong with it, or selling a house, whatever it is you're selling, and you hide whatever is inside, because if they can't find it, that it's good enough. Prophet one time found one guy was selling, it was a box of, I think, wheat or something, and then he put his hand, he stuck it in, and he found that it was wet. And he said, why is it wet on the inside? He's like, it rained, so I put the bad things in the bottom, and I put the nice dry ones on the top. He's like, you can't cheat, this is cheating. And if you're cheating, you're not one of us, basically. You can't be. So basically, it's bad character. Quran focuses so much when you're doing business to make sure that it's balanced, and it says awful kail. When there's a balance, you put 1 kilo to make sure that whatever it is equivalent to that kilo. It's always focusing on that. So as a seller, you know what you're selling. It's like watering down your perfume, for example, and tell them, oh, it's pure. Or if it's gold and you mix it with something else, but you tell them it's pure. It's harder sometimes to find out for the buyer side, but as a seller, you know. So try not to cheat whatever it is you're selling to the other side, and to be as fair as possible. And also on the buying side, we have an obligation as Muslims not to cheat. As a buyer, you know that this is worth millions, but at the same time, the seller is just so naive and they don't know what they're doing, and they just had this, whatever. So we're not supposed to cheat them in a way that we need to pay them a fair price. It always needs to be fair. So many of us working in sales or writing contracts think that we can overpromise clients or people things, and then later on, just as long as we don't put it in the contract and change the wording, we're off the hook. Yes, we're off the hook in this world, but later on, we're not. So, and that's just not being honest. And one good way, or one I'd hope to say that's an easy way to make it to heaven, the Prophet says, is through honesty. He says, just if you want to make it to heaven, just be honest. Be honest with yourself, be honest with God, be honest with everyone you're dealing with, and this leads to righteousness, and righteousness leads to heaven. You keep telling the truth until you're written off as a truthful, honest person, or you keep lying until you're just written off as a liar and you just can't stop it. The worst kind of person from a Muslim point of view is the hypocrite. May God protect us all from being hypocrites, because these are just the worst of the worst of the worst. When they make a promise, they probably won't fulfill it. They'll find a way to get out of it. When you trust them with something, they'll break that trust or promise one way or the other. Last but not least, Prophet said, أَدِّ الْأَمَانَ لِمَنْ ائْتَمَنَكَ وَلَا تَخُنْ مَنْ خَانَكَ. Fulfill your promises and trust. If someone comes to you, whoever it is, it doesn't have to be a Muslim or whatever. Some people thinking are screwed. They can cheat other people as long as they're not Muslim or whatever. This is, I don't know where you got this from, but if anyone in the world trusts you with something, you have to fulfill it. They find you trustworthy, they kept something, a secret or something that is materialistic with you, you have to fulfill it and give it back in its entirety. And at the same time, if they betray you, you cannot betray them. So in plain English terms, two wrongs in Islam do not make a right. If someone betrays you, you cannot betray them. Anyways, hope you benefited from this and see you in the next video. Salam.